Walking again. Devastating. And still not happy. I have a sense of this part on it. Yeah, so it happened, took 6 months to get better. I was for 6 months. Yeah, yeah. And then we more mentally equipped to do what's the word? Advocate for myself outside of the little less than I brand specialist in the which is incredibly hard to do. It's fun. I was already walking the first time that I got to know. So I was by this literally she said try a shoe.
It's a reading where we have obstacles. Readers have 6 minutes before they get sublimed. The reading order is determined randomly, so there's no time to prepare. And also, there's a lot more in store. So thank you. Let's get all of the competitors on the stage. And give them a round of applause. Last month's winner was that. You got to sign this trophy. That is the prize. Okay, I need you, out of this pink hat, to take a number. All right, number one, who are you? Those are numbers. You're a 5, I'm guessing. It's an S. Yeah. All right. Oh, Taylor. Letter I. Here we go. Taylor is first. I think there's something special planned. Please give her a round of applause. And competitors, if you're not reviewing, you can awkwardly walk off the stage now. Hi, Taylor. Let me ask you a question here. Do you know what we're doing here? Okay. What's your story? Who are you?
I'm Taylor. I don't. So here's the problem: is I'm very sorry. I'm extremely not prepared for this. My intention was to read a poem, but life's just been like really busy lately, and like I'm a stay-at-home mom. I got 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. Thank you. Break into the writing scene. So I was gonna write a poem, and I did it really quick on my way here, and it's really not good, and it's also not finished. But I still wanted to read something, so I was hoping I could have some help.
Would you like help?
Yes.
And what kind of poem are you reading?
So it's a haiku, but the idea is that we're gonna do a tanka no renga, a linked verse style. So I've written 3 lines. The person after me, if everyone is willing to help, they write 2 lines, and then 3, and then 2, and then 3, and so on, until we have a completed verse.
And those are the competitors. And they don't have a choice. They're going to do this. And at the end of the night, we'll read the completed haiku.
Yes.
But we're forgetting a very important step. We spin this wheel. It determines your obstacle. Well, we can't really do that. You're getting Paulsburg. All right, I'm starting the timer. You have 6 minutes to read 3 lines. Hey, if you're talking, get up on the stage, please. She's reading the haiku. She's not going to take 6 minutes.
I really need it.
Don't.
Okay, no. I just did it again. I did it. Life's been really hard.
I want to hear it.
Okay, I'm just gonna read my poem.
No, that'd be great.
Okay.
Dr. Baldwin, let her read the poem, and then you can put your input.
Okay. Summer morning on the green hill. My mother is serving breakfast. Chili dogs.
I'm more emotional, like it's a poem. Evoke the emotion. Pull it out of them through you.
This is not proper business. Are you a licensed medical professional?
Here we go.
Okay.
Summer morning. My mother is serving breakfast. Chili dogs.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say? Do you have any things to promote? Kickstarters, GoFundMe's?
I don't have a Kickstarter, but my husband does, and we really need a win right now. he recently got this really rare diagnosis. It's like a disorder. Y'all might not have heard of it. It's called ADHD. And then also, it turns out like part of how it's manifesting for him, one of his symptoms is like he has no anus. And it's been a very confusing time for us.
ADHD.
Yeah, so if you could support his Kickstarter, it's a comic book called Dino Nights. And that's very cool. Look at that. I'm also selling some little zines of poetry. I keep saying I'm very sorry, folks.
It's rough.
But that's it.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sandra. How about you read that notepad here? And the number 2, whoever that is. Who is number 2? Don't say that about yourself. Aaron Lawhon. Give it for Aaron Lawhon. But before we start, I just want to open up to y'all about something. And that's why I brought Dr. Baltusberger here for me. I've been very depressed. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Last month, Mario interrupted me, made me feel like less of a man. He's got Mario Kart World out. I've got nothing to show for myself. I have this haha story time at Radio Coffee and Beer. John, can you help me?
So yeah, as you know, we did several tests last time I was with you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a number of issues going on. The first is your cholesterol kind of out of control. Like I would say a smidge short of like organ failure.
Ooh.
So I need you to stop eating eggs. No egg.
The egg man.
No.
You should be sitting spiraling, Doctor. Where did you get your certificate?
So DeVry.
You just got slimes. Get the fuck off the stage. Aaron, wow. Okay, hold on, Aaron. Sorry. Are you able to write a haiku on the spot?
Do it.
Hold on.
The last one we had went chili dogs for breakfast. Cold dogs. Pray someone drops a hot chili.
That was amazing. All right, Aaron, what do you do for a living?
I am a professor.
All right, so this is a writer's competition. I think that's a pretty high competition. Can we spin this wheel to make sure that the stakes are a little evened out? This is the last story summary, which is a very easy obstacle. So go ahead and summarize the last story.
All right, to summarize the last 3 lines.
Exactly. In 5 words or less.
Green Hill, chili dog. Yum.
Exactly 5 words. Amazing. Okay, Aaron, I guess you can just start reading. Time to start.
All right, this one is called Lila's Teeth. I wanted to be junior vice president at Shattuck and Squay, and they wanted me. They offered me lesser posts, but the junior VP slot wasn't open, and I wasn't moving for less. Fortunately, someone died. Roy Dobson, one of the senior VPs, passed away. They moved Bob Hayward, one of the juniors, to the senior slot, and moved me in to replace Hayward. Lila, Roy Dobson's daughter, worked as a project manager. You could tell Lila knew how sexy she was, especially when she wore the green dress that brought out her curves and made her eyes pop. And I loved watching her mess with it. She would work up a man like Dan, the new guy in acquisitions, turn on the coy, alluring doe eyes, the cartoon, sultry voice, and lean in over his desk to swirl a paperclip with her fingernail. As soon as she made his heart flutter, caught a blush in his cheek, she would take out her false teeth, show her gums, and split her deep swamp monster growl. She cackled as Dan's cheeks went from red to pink. Lila told me she thought someone murdered her father. and the murderer worked in the office. I found murder unlikely. I heard Roy's health had been going for a while, but the gleam in Lila's eye, the way she bit her lip when she thought she'd found a clue, convinced me to play along. We stole scraps from Henry Kaiser's paper shredder and reassembled them like a puzzle. We dug through Meredith Bloom's pill case to look for anything that could be arsenic. We spun out hidden motives and jealousies with everyone, wrapped the whole office in a conspiracy. Any one of them could be the killer. In truth, Lila didn't believe her father was murdered. Murder investigation was how we flirted. We were falling in love. We quit investigating our coworkers and got married. Our love felt like a slice of secret knowledge, something on the other side of understanding. This wasn't some ho-hum I do, not the sort of thing folks like Dan, Henry, or Meredith settled for. Our desires, our bodies, our minds searched for a deep secret, erotic like nothing else. After making love, we would laugh and wink at what we knew, like we were both killers and detectives, hiding and finding bodies in the swamp. This was what we had on the rest of it, our conspiracy. It turned out Roy Dawson was murdered. Bob Hayward had been slow poisoning his coffee for years. Hayward's ex-wife, after a bitter divorce, went to the police and told them everything. They put Bob Hayward away. The news hit Lila hard and left me feeling dirty. We couldn't talk about anything or meet each other's eyes. The real murder made our marriage feel like a sham, like we were close to something true. But instead, we got married. We didn't divorce, but we went cold. We each kept it to our side of the house. I had an affair. I'm pretty sure Lila had one too. Sometimes Lila would spend full days at home with her teeth on the kitchen counter. That's how I knew she was angry, when Lila left her teeth on the counter.
Hey, Aaron, do you have any books or stories published, or where can people find you?
Oh, actually, I printed out some little zine things that I don't have up here yet, though.
But you can. You can come up after the show and purchase from Aaron. There we are.
Here.
So the problem with this show is everyone is aware of the time limit. It's very distressing. I love Sublime. Here's number 3. The former champion, current champion. Hey, Debbie, hold on. Can you pronounce your last name? Oh, yeah, Jesus.
My last name is Bonet.
Monet, okay. And you're famous for audiobooks?
That's the main one.
Yeah. Which one are you famous for?
I did the audiobook for a novel called Excrement Mountain. I don't recommend it.
Hey. Gotta really work here.
Yeah,
Are you excited to be here for a second time?
I am. I feel honored to have been asked back, and excited to. I've written a piece especially for the occasion.
I've heard. Can you come up with a haiku real quick? You do this a lot.
Yes. The man is insane.
The man is insane.
The one who sits beside me.
The one who would that be?
Let me tell you more.
Ooh, that's bad. Okay, don't forget the most important part. And I am allowed to rig if I choose to do so. Spin, please. Oh my God. Self-censorship. Do you have any curse words in there?
Yep.
Cool. So substitute with kid-friendly. My daughter and son are in the audience. Oh boy, you have 6 minutes. But you know what? Hold on. As the reigning champs, you really get 5 to 30. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. I was born in the year 1990. I recall my initial thought being, really? Again? I was so distraught that I started crying in the doctor's arms. She said, "Are you okay?" To which I responded, "Well, Janet, I'm coping with detachment from eternal bliss, so no." My mother lit a smoke and asked for a double bourbon on the rocks, and life began. During those early months, I felt something I couldn't understand, a connection to the universe and everything in it. Wars had ended, others had begun. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched. Twin Peaks debuted on TV. The list goes on, but the unequivocal defining event of that famed year of our Lord 1990 was taking place halfway across the globe. None of us could have foreseen it then, but the world was about to change. It was in a small town called Tokyo, where Naoto Oshima was hard at work for humble Silicon Valley startup called Sega. It found itself in fierce competition with rival gaming company Nintendo.
Boom.
Nintendo had dominated the industry for years with beloved red-capped Jack Turtle fighter Mario. Naoto was sick of this. He was hungry. He wanted to win. So he whipped out his beeper and paged his colleague Yuji Naka, who had recently developed an algorithm that allowed a sprite to move smoothly on a curve by determining its position on a dot matrix. A true spark of genius in the world of gaming. What they needed now was a protagonist, nay, an icon, a worthy adversary of that mustachioed Italian plumber Frick. They landed on the obvious choice, a teal hedgehog named Sonic, and a legend was born. Naoto had no idea what he had done. He didn't know that the blue blur would go on to be a global superstar for decades to come, that he would put Sega on the map, that he would yield multiple big-budget Hollywood films starring Jean-Ralphio and Ace Ventura. But crucially, this legendary artist could not have guessed that 35 years later, on a tiny, decaying stage in one of Austin, Texas's most adored coffee shops, that there would be a grown man with 2 children, donned in full Sonic regalia, desperate to interrupt me by blasting the music of Southern California darling Sublime. Not in a million years could Oshima have imagined that this obscene and hairy beast would make bastardized doodles of his cherished character and then force them at knife point upon the employees and patrons of his place of so-called work. That this deranged and four-eyed maniac would pass this sickness on to his poor innocent daughter, leaving her to draw even cruder versions, and then unleash yet another batch of stickers upon his inferiors. Had Naoto glimpsed any of this, I imagine he would have walked to the nearest Walmart, bought a pistol, and blown his head off right then and there. Alas, this happened. This is happening. Right at this moment, this distantly Portuguese nutcase 6 feet away from me, ready to strike my pride away by suggesting that love is all we got. I ask you, the participants and audience of this twisted game, is it? In a world where an esteemed general manager of an 8-time Chronicle Best Coffee Shop winner subjects us to such deep levels of emotional distress? No, it isn't. Love cannot be all we got. In fact, we have to face the cold hard truth that some of us do cry when our dog runs away. We do get angry with the bills we have to pay. And when those bills are dependent on a hot dog obsessed TikToker, great caution should be utilized in how we approach him. Careful study of his cabin-like mind, without relent, could be the only way to ensure not only the safety of mankind, but that I continue the minimum payments on my crippling credit card debt. So let us ask ourselves, what is this smut-writing, eternally unshaven fiend after? Does he wish to horrify us? Or does he simply get off on this debased and perverted act of going fast? When he was just a small bearded child, and laid eyes upon that sapphire devil for the first time, did he have any sense that he would permanently damage the fragile psyches of unassuming college students looking for a matcha on a Tuesday night in June, who had the incredible displeasure of glancing towards the stage? And had he known, would he have taken a different path in life? Would he have stayed at bookkeeper, where he could never have abused his power to get away with such flagrant use of what is basically scum? If he knew what was good for him, would he best go run and hide? In the end, it remains a mystery. But as I stand here, defending my title of victor in last month's episode of this vile and depraved charade, I can't help in some sense but respect this absurd human being. In part because I'm employed by this company, and fear that after several minutes of outright slander, my already crumbling finances could be in further jeopardy. But also, because in this strange, cruel, and horrific world, what else can we hope for from one another but to choose an interest, beat it to death, and subject our friends and colleagues to it? And
I'm going to let you finish because it's great.
And so, having taken this obscure path towards wisdom, we must forgive him. We must look to the lipstick cross upon his forehead and crucify ourselves in the name of God. We must allow his disturbed mania to spread far and wide, from the Green Hill Zone all the way to radio, coffee, and beer. Because, as the Buddha once said, suffering is the only path to enlightenment. And if that's why we're here, again, well, then perhaps we should surrender to it. Perhaps we should mint this batshit lunacy for the betterment of our souls, humans and hedgehogs alike. Alas, I submit to you, my fellow witnesses of this psychotic spectacle, that this pursuit of bold and needless art, in the unfortunate form of a foul and putrid game show, run by a garish ghoul in second-rate powdery clown makeup, is nothing less than truly sublime.
I am Portuguese, so I'm laughing until I cry, and then I just started crying. Thank you. Get the fuck out. What number was that? Three. Okay. Number 4. Michael Lewis Dixon. I brought my doctor here for 2 reasons. One, after that just ass beating I received, I'm still depressed. Michael Lewis Dixon was supposed to perform last time. What'd you have?
COVID.
Wow.
It was fine.
Yeah, that sucks. You just really quickly, this whole thing is a big mistake. Barely any COVID. Okay, cool. Hold on, Michael. You have to spin this wheel. And I reserve the right to rig it. I'm running out of things to rig for the special one.
Austin's got to write the haiku.
I know. Okay, what is it? Heckler. Malty is it? But we're going to give you Heckler. Okay, hold on. Hey, calm down, sir. You're trying to write a haiku, though. This is so, it's not against your time. You don't have to worry. This means nothing. As you know, it's an absurd, useless piece of art, like the last reader said. Not haiku, this.
1, 2.
Huh?
1, 2.
1, 2.
Buckle my shoe.
Buckle my shoe. I know where this is going. 3, 4.
You already do it.
3, 4.
Fill up.
Shut the fucking door. Yeah, that was disturbing. Michael Lewis Dixon, I'm starting your clock now. You've got 6 minutes. Go.
So there's a little history here. During the great heyday of the old pulps back during the 20s through the 50s, there was a genre that would later be fondly referred to as the two-fisted tale, best noted for its noir and hard-boiled detective plots. The resurgence of this subgenre is brought about by its fans in the 70s with the newly relaxed censorship laws in the U.S. There came the rise of a whole new slew of lurid tales, and thus a new subgenre was born. Three-fisted tale. The three-fisted tale. It was the 70s, and the prevailing attitude was pretty much anything goes. Ever the student of smut, I went on a deep archives hunt for the best examples of the elusive three-fisted tale. I'm going to read you one of them tonight, but like I said, it was the 70s and censorship was something to be sneered at. Children are going to learn about this stuff anyways. So why not do away with the secretive nature? They felt it was only time that we embrace good old-fashioned and down-to-earth naughty bits. Well, just look around today and tell me that it all came out just fine. So we discovered that everything has balance today. We're much more nuanced in our censorship for children. I think there might even be a reintroduction of the firing squad as for those who interrupt somebody performing. The new keep your smut in your drawers policy is being passed by legislation by the political party known as the hoity-toities. Well, I've almost certainly learned my lesson. I'm going to dedicate tonight's reading to the government official assigned to my case. This one's for you. This is Nick Hamfist in Snub Nose and Cocked, rated PG. Nick Hamfist had just finished polishing his rod when there came a knock at his office door. He quickly cleaned up with a handful of tissues he snatched from the Kleenex box. The gun was almost as clean as it could get. He kept it loaded, and he never kept it cocked. Not since that time he ruined his favorite plaid pants. He wasn't surprised that he'd blown a hole clear through his jockeys and drawers. At least it didn't go through the wall. The knock came again. Hold your horses, Nick shouted as he inspected his fingers. Don't get your panties in a twist. And with those words still leaving his lips, Nick threw open the door and found the most beautiful man he'd ever laid eyes on. He was a huge, manly man. He had manly muscles rippling underneath his manly shirt. It was so tight, you could see his masculine nipples perking up from the air-conditioned breeze that gently massaged them as it passed through the doorway. He felt his appendage rising uncontrollably in the presence of such radiant masculinity. His arm lifted, rough between the two men, and hung there, proud. The stranger's eyes fell upon the hanging appendage, and his manly dark eyebrow cocked up over his noble brow, suggesting a question. But then his putty lips curled into a toothy grin over his chiseled jawline. He thrust out his own appendage, and they grasped each other in a tight, clenching handshake. After a couple of pumps, Nick knew a moment of panic as he felt himself giving in too quickly. But he concentrated on baseball, going over his favorite player's stats until he regained his control and squeezed back, trying to match grip for grip. The two would have gone on like that, squeezing and smirking with the occasional twitch. But then Nick's phone rang and he had to disengage. When they came apart, there was a loud, wet smooch as their hands separated. Nick grabbed another tissue and wiped his palm before picking up the phone. Hamfist Detective Agency, you finger the hand and we'll fist it for you, he said. He waved the handsome stranger over to a chair on the other side of the desk. The man sauntered over and took the seat with a healthy masculine spread. Mr. Hamfist? Asked the simpering voice on the line. Speaking, he said, and gave the handsome guy a wink. The man smirked and winked back. Hello, Mr. Hamfist. It's a pleasure to talk with you. I'm calling from the Evangelical Church of Gospel Gymnastics, and I'm here to. Sorry, wrong number, Nick said and slammed the phone down. Telemarketers? Handsome man asked. Yep, the worst kind too, Nick said as he came around the desk and sat near his visitor. He liked the scent of the man's cologne. Musk and assertiveness. It's the Anti-Fun League trying to make us as miserable as they are. He changed his tone to a more serious note. And that brings me to you, handsome. You don't look like my typical client, so I gotta ask, where do you get a dump like this? Nick gestured to the small rented office that had just enough room for his desk and the chair that this big burly guy was currently dwarfing. The smile fell from his visitor's strong and lovely face. He lowered his voice when he responded with a deep rumble. I'm in need of a bodyguard. Somebody who's hard, muscled, knows their way around a good stiff weapon. Someone with skills. Nick was shocked that a perfect specimen of masculinity would be in this kind of need, but Nick liked to keep to his slogan, and here was a shapely hand in need of a good fist. To be continued. Just a state.
I'm so sorry. The first one I was shooting him with a water gun the entire time.
I have a book called Sick. It's kind of like The Last of Us, but through a Cronenberg vision. And we've got a group of us here in this dumb bullshit for brilliant idiots. It's a nice collection of life.
Give it up for Michael Lewis, 6th grade. Number 5, Juliet Wild. Here's the thing, Juliet. Have to win. I feel so bad about it. Okay, you have to That's so mean. You're getting cuts.
What's it called?
Cut chair. Pull up that seat right there. You have to sit down and listen to this fool read your story. Kind of fitting, I think, for what you're on. Oh, yeah. Brian, you also have to do that too.
I don't know.
Fucking do it. Just 3 lines. I shoot 3, 4. Shut the flipping door now.
Is a swear word in this poem?
Well, you can put a swear
The
word.
American Academy of Poets is gonna.
That doesn't matter, man. Come on. Just give me a haiku. You're supposed to be able to perform where people can come.
Haikus are supposed to be surprising. Refrigerator elephant.
Hi, everybody.
Hold on.
Elephant? What?
Refrigerator. Bad format. Not correct.
I thought you were talking about me, then I realized you were talking about him, and I felt much better. Okay, Juliet Wild. Hold on. You're gonna read. Do you know what you're reading?
I know nothing about this.
Okay.
I'm Ryan C. Bradley. The C is for cockney. I've never known what that meant before. I assume it's some kind of rooster sound.
Look it up on Google.
And I was supposed to say, what was it? I'm going to please the audience like their husband can. This is a PG-13 show. I don't know what any of this means. I'm just throwing words up here. It's just a baby. It's just a little baby. The dry season is longer and drier than cycles past, but the air is pregnant. Again, PG-13, not that kind of pregnant, with moisture this day. The well has water, but the creek it feeds is dry, and the brush along it is brown. All make do as the energy shift and the cycles flow. The beasties build home closer to me or sleep through the drier season. The bostage drives roots deeper or stores water with thickening flesh. First rains are coming, though they are late this cycle. I am drifting among the ripples on the surface of the pool, absorbing the heat of the sun, when a rhythmic clung, 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 clung ripples in the water that flows through me. Drawing focus to the edges of the pool, I feel it again. Clung, 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 clung. It has been many cycles since people's last came to check the aqueduct downstream. They used to come each cycle before the first rains, but the intervals between the visits grow longer. In the wetter cycles, they come to the clear back the bostage from the aqueduct. In drier circles, they come to the line, the beds and wells with clay that hardens in the sun. Again, PG-13, different kind of hardening. When they come, I meander downstream, peering in the holes, listening to them argue over numbers, looking for a familiar face that never appears. Clung, 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 clung. The energy of the rhythmic clanging reverberates through me again. I dissolve into the water and emerge as vapor at the edge of the pool. The clung, clung in the rocks below becomes a clomp, 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 clomp in the air above. The steady rhythm bounces off the dry bed and the cliff face. I catch the wind to investigate the percussive echo. Then a voice glides on the air in a whisper. Silly Wekia. A memory? A big beastie clomp clomp towards me with a
mounted riders. He wears a brimmed hat and the hair beneath it is silver and tied into a tail. He wears gloves and leather pants and a natural colored tunic. With head turned to the dry bed, I think it must be more peoples coming to check the quadra. For a long moment, I watched unseen as the people ride at a steady rate and trot until he reaches the well. Despite the reverberation of heavy cloms, there's a familiar energy, familiar but different. When the rider dismounts, I see a little metal house hanging on a leather cord around the neck, and the face of the boy he once was. Frog is still striking, and though silver-haired and loose-skinned, he stands tall and proud. Despite the cycles that have caused the presence of him, the energy that surrounds him is warm, but the hum he emits is no longer smooth. A jagged twinge rubs at the edges rather than resonates. Silly Wekia, he calls again. The voice is a comforting baritone that rumbles on the air, but more rasped with age. I know he senses me when a mischievous smile spreads back. Mischievous smile spreads across wide lips. He tugs off he tugs off the tunic and works off the leather boots, then the pants. Bundling the clothes into a neat pile, he drops the hat on top. He is paler than when I last saw him, and there are spots on the hand. He is beautiful still. A winsome expression crosses the face in a moment before he dives into the water from the side of the pool. He emerges in the center and lies back to float with arms spread. As the water ripples around him, he watches the clouds with a fond gaze. The mischievous grin he wears conjures images of a rebellious childhood, brave explorations, and knowing energy. Soon he swims to the edge of the pool with strokes that are strong, though slower and more leisurely than they once were. He climbs out and stands at the base of the cliff. He arches backwards to scrutinize the tall wall. Then he tests a craggy step with a veiny foot and grips the wall to begin the climb. I stay beneath him for support, but he is cautious. He scales the rock with the same poise he always did, though now the pace is slow and mindful. On the precipice, he stands the way I remember, fearless. Instead of diving into the water, he lowers himself to the edge of the cliff and dangles both legs over the side. Gazing over the creek and canopy of trees before, he says the name again, Silly Wekia, an invitation to join him, spoken as softly as if he was lying next to me. Now, not long after, Cross stands and stalks to the path hidden between the canopy of trees and the cliff face. I follow him and wrap the air around him as he sidesteps along the ledge to the cave entrance. He pokes a head inside and pauses before stepping into the dark. Inside, I generate a soft light on the walls.
It must have been hired a college freshman, the beautiful high school stuff. Now we're in real trouble. Please. All of the people. You're going to jail. Mario. I'm wearing my shirt. Julia. So what was your favorite part of watching that? Whatever the hell that was.
Realizing how much more I had to edit.
It's already published. Who gives a shit? You got your check. Now to the next one. All right, thank you. Give it up for Juliet Wild. Last but not least, a true poet, Sam Trevino. You know the rules. 6 minutes. You got to spin the wheel.
Okay, yeah, am I doing?
Yes, you are. You are.
I do.
You sure are.
All right.
You've been thinking about this the whole time.
So like when I pulled out 6 out of the hat, I was like, oh fuck yeah.
Okay, well let's hear it.
Hot dog on the grill. smells like sex. Bring me the goddamn chili. We love a thing.
As a doctor, if your sex smells like I really recommend
Is
sticking your all
that normal?
That's
Not your all.
disgusting.
But
You know,
one was part of it though.
I need you to spin that wheel. This is so devastating. We get minus 30 seconds. But let's make it minus a minute. Why not? Let's keep it interesting.
Oh no.
All right, let's start.
Poetry.
Okay.
Small time frame. Oh dear. An ongoing list of things found in the library book drop, usually being used as bookmarks. An orange peel, a rusty nail, hopes and dreams long discarded, multiple credit cards, 14 googly eyes pristine condition, an unstamped passport, love letters, multiple, some surrounded by an aura of violence, miscellaneous cash in various denominations, a baby ultrasound, a birthday card from Grand, a Polaroid of someone else's wedding, a phone number accented by a mark of lipstick, an unused tea bag, a used tea bag, a crumpled poem scrawled across a cocktail napkin, an anarcho-socialist manifesto in exquisite handwriting. Every poem is a manifesto. Every manifesto is a love letter tucked inside a book. One in particular reading of all the infinite universes, only a handful have you in them. Those are my favorite. Burn the rest. Are we doing time updates or not?
No.
No. Okay. Cool.
He wants to stop lying.
That's also part of it. But here's one, which is the impedal poem of a chat book put out by not you because you're Sonic, but by my Andrew.
Hate that guy.
Yeah, he's a fucker. It's called Werewolf Mask. Let me take off my werewolf mask for you and feel the full moon on my bare skin. I like nothing more than to co-star in 100 monster movies with you. You can trade off screaming bloody murder and being the scary one who's calling from inside the house. Some folks use a silver bullet as a kind of foreplay. And why can't all those be that courageous and cinematic? When you hear the symphony of romantic chainsaws, the orchestra of the living dead tuning their violins, the staccato of the butcher knife massacre of bed sheets and shower curtains. Far from the town, the man in the hockey mask anxiously wrings his bloody sausage fingers and whispers to all of those starry-eyed campers after midnight. Be kind to one another. It's damn lonely out here in these woods. And we'll do a longer one now because I want it. I want it. Ways to kick off a new year. Fires, broken glass. In Ecuador, empty suitcases are walked around the block. In Spain, they're eating grapes at midnight. They're eating black-eyed peas in the south because who doesn't want more soul in their food? An old farmer in Romania is whispering to his animals, hoping that they might talk back. In Venice, St. Mark's Square is filled with 100 kisses. A tree is planted under frozen water in Siberia. In Brasstown, North Carolina, they're fucking torturing some poor possum, and I'm not sure what that has to do with the new year or anything. Some folks just join the gym and go once, while others don't even get that far. Jen is planning to travel. Soul is talking about Europe. Some go to confession or jump in the Atlantic to get washed in the sunrise. Whisper your resolutions down a dark alley, keep on walking. Pour your regrets and your finest silver to retray. Leave it soaking in the moonlight. Stand over it at midnight and recite the secret incantation of your choosing. If you mutter anything long enough in Latin, it's bound to sound mystic. It's like telling your darkest secrets to a pinata right before you smash his head in. Can you play it anyway?
I was truly right.
I'll take this shit. Okay. You probably can't read my handwriting. Are you even here? No, here, you probably can't read my handwriting. Do you want me to read this completed haiku, or do you want to try to read my handwriting? Cool. We're gonna vote for who wins. Summer morning on the Green Hill. My mother is serving breakfast. Chili dogs. Cold dogs in the back. Pray someone drops a hot chili. This man is insane. The one who sits beside me. Let me tell you more. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, shut the fucking door now. Haikus are supposed to be surprising. Refrigerator elephant. Hot dogs on the grill smells like sex. Bring me the goddamn chili. My depression has lifted. I can go real fast. I will. I must. I am Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, competitors, we're going to do by audience applause. This is also devastating, but let's get up. Take a bow. This show means nothing. It was very fun. Let's get up here. Juliet, Taylor, Devin, Michael, Sam, Aaron. Okay. Sam Trevino. Taylor Fox. Aaron Long. Juliet Wine. Dixon. Kevin Bonet. Anybody but Karen, please. Aaron Long. Kevin Bonet. The first few times.
I got room for next one, so. Opportunity to mean the world to me. I could think of nothing better to do. So that's why I'm here, and thank you. I'll be posting this piece online and sharing it for all to see. And thank you to Andrew for being so insane and inspiring me to write this piece. And thank you to my fellow contestants. And you're all great. You all have books here for sale. I have nothing. Fire. Thank you so much.